would think that the weather employees would be grateful for you saving their lives, and that's the problem. They are. Too grateful, if you ask me. They offer to give you a reward for your troubles while stripping you of an option to decline. With that being said, we retrieve our second Pokemon of the playthrough, and just like that, the run is dead. I mean, we never caught a Pokemon, I suppose. It's not like I used a Pokeball for it. I suppose that I could just hide him in the box like a red-headed stepchild and hope he never sees the light of day. So with an additional skeleton in our closet, Steven Stone shows us another fun piece of useless information before we go into the 6th gym. I'll be honest and say that these puzzles for toddlers took me a bit longer than I'd like to admit, but I eventually found my way through. I debated on teaching my Mudkip Rock Tomb for this gym alone, but I trusted my precious child to eliminate. Oh my god, they're all dead. Remember when I talked about Team Aqua earlier? Yeah, just imagine that again, but this time with ghosts. Then imagine that again, but with Team Magma, and now rocks are around. The twist here is you have to fight the leader of Team Magma, and during this fight, I kind of ran out of PP, so I thought using Dig against his Camerupt would be a fine answer, but I was wrong. We got him on the run back though, so let's just focus on the positive, okay? Our next objective was to return to Slateport, and since my Mudkip could not learn Fly no matter how many times I asked or how hard he tried, so we had to walk across the country again. This is just a pointless objective that activates the next event in Lily Cove, which is a painful process if you don't have the ability of fast travel. And since we were in Slateport, I thought we would surf over to the abandoned ship and pick up TM13 Ice Beam, and we're just gonna put that in the bag until later. While returning to Slateport, I ran into a random encounter. Upon slaying another Tentacool, somebody asked me to fix a stream layout. As I was attempting to please a loyal viewer, I realized that I made a grave error.
It's just a lighting error. It's a white balance thing. It's like I can just slide one thing on here and make it work. Like, wait, that's saturation. That's wrong. Wait.
Yeah, so I turned the game off and went back to my last save, groaned loudly, and did it all over again. Backtracking through time was as painful as it sounds, and then I picked up Toxic along the way, defeated Team Aqua again while picking up a Master Ball that is essentially worthless, and then we found our way back to Moss Deep. This gym served as a huge roadblock in our path because this gym clearly incentivizes double battles with its design and theme and gym leaders being Kate and Liza. Or Lisa, or Lisa, who cares. As soon as you make it to the gym leader room, they turn you away if you only have one Pokemon. To battle them, I'd have to catch another Pokemon, which would absolutely disqualify me from this challenge. But what if we had a certain albino Metamorphosis love child to bring back out of hiding? Surely this doesn't count as catching a Pokemon, and it's not like its inclusion really matters since he's just gonna die to Xatu's Psychic. From this point on, Mudkip easily won the 2v1 by spamming Surf the entire battle, and upon leaving the gym, I went out to go do what I felt was right and release Castform into the wild. But they refused. Back in the box he went, and we went to assist Mr. Stone in a double battle. He was kind enough to allow me to choose any Pokemon I wanted, so I chose my Mudkip and we washed the floor with these lackeys. With our journey soon coming to a close, Steven finally did something of value and allowed me to teach my Mudkip a brand new HM, Dive. With this being our 4th one, Mudkip looks no different than an HM Zigzagoon slave at this point, and nevertheless, we continued our journey to the 8th gym. But before I did that, I was surfing and ran into a shiny Tentacool, laughed hysterically, and killed it in front of everybody. But I still forgot we had to go to the Aqua hideout, so yeah, we did that too. Then returning to Pseudopolis. They play a nice little cutscene while Wallace plays 20 questions about Rayquaza, interrogating me about their location as if a 10-year-old with a Mudkip had even heard of whatever that thing is. For whatever plot convenience reason, we trekked up to meet Slifer the Sky Dragon, and he instant transmission to somewhere random, I think. Since I didn't want to attempt to imitate it by walking painfully slow, I just battled in the Sky Tower until my little Mudkip couldn't handle it anymore. Since whiting out just sends you to the last Pokemon Center you went to, it activated the next cutscene immediately. Rayquaza interrupts this fight that looks like a stare down to tell Groudon that he got insanely counterpicked. I mean, he has this tiny piece of land and Kyogre has this ocean on their side. He then threw in the white flag, which caused Kyogre to dive back into the ocean, and I don't really know where Groudon went, honestly. Anyways, after seeing all 3 of those monsters, this allows our protagonist to enter the final gym and succeed in these puzzles that I definitely remember being much harder as a kid. One doesn't really serve as too much of a challenge for the beast that was created before your very eyes, but I thought it would be a very funny flex to throw a Master Ball at his truly beloved. He didn't appreciate the joke very much, and to be fair, I get it, it's not really that funny. So with all 8 gym badges in hand, our journey now directs us at Evergrande City, which is honestly just one building. And nice. But first, we have to go to the move deleter and ditch dive and learn waterfall. Luckily, only 4 of the 5 required HMs are necessary to get through Victory Road, and if that wasn't true, the run would have just ended right here. Upon entering Victory Road, we are greeted with Wally trying to strike a pose, and we can just fast forward through all of this. He never really served as much of a challenge to the superior species of Pokemon. Victory Road is a dark and scary labyrinth, and I wasn't really about to rely on muscle memory nor flash, so I just looked up a guide and counted step by step. Nothing really exciting happens here, so we can just fast forward to the Elite Four. I stocked up on last minute supplies and sold my revives since we can't possibly use those. I called this a practice run since the moveset I was going on was full of low PP HMs, with one of them being Rock Smash, which is a hilariously awful move. This definitely sounded much harder on paper, but Mudkip kind of tore through all of the first few trainers. We got to Drake with only water moves that are not very effective, Rock Smash is just not, and we didn't have any ice moves. Things seemed kind of hopeless. I decided to use an Ether on Strength, and that turned out to be the saving grace here somehow. Upon beating the Elite Four, we had one remaining challenge in our way. This Mudkip has been through so much. We all have in this adventure. And with our journey finally coming to... Okay, we got Toxic stalled by Wallace's Melodic and lost. Okay, whatever. At this point, I just decided that our moveset was not going to cut it. One of our moves did not even get used in the Elite Four, and the rest didn't cover what we needed it to. With Toxic and Ice Beam still in my bag, I wanted to equip them to Mudkip, but how? We made our way back through Victory Road, picking up a much needed PP up on the way, and arrived at the move deleter's house. After removing half of their HMs and giving Mudkip as close to a real moveset as I possibly could, we set out to see and died. You know, since this would warp our trainer back to the Elite Four and the HMs required to get through Victory Road were no longer applicable, this time was going to be different. Each move was strategically picked for each trainer. A lot of Pokemon were Die to Surf alone given stat bonus, but we also had strength to cover the matchups with weak defense or who were strong to water. With everything in place, Mudkip was unchained, storming through trainer after okay, and then Glalie just used self-destruct. This time for sure, after arriving at Phoebe's battle, I realized the last battle her Dusclops exerts pressure, which is bad for my limited move pool. I also noticed that he opens with Protect and would keep spamming it until one connected. Being that he could use this move 10 times, I decided that I would just buff Mudkip up as much as possible, and then on the 11th turn, the beefiest Mudkip you've ever seen slaughtered all of the ghosts. I used a similar strategy for the next trainer since Mudkip lived in constant fear of being exploded on by a living snowball. When it came to Drake, the difficulty of the last run went away since Ice Beam was the perfect tool to destroy everything he loves, which finally brought us back to Wallace. I took my time and beefed up against his Wailord, which I feel like if that Pokemon ever gets Dynamax, stadiums are going to collapse. With Ludicolo knowing Giga Drain, this could serve as a huge problem. Being that I had to heal each time he used it, I just waited until he used the move 5 times and then Ice Beamed him down. Wallace's Tentacruel is by far the least threatening Pokemon he has, so this was just time to heal, buff up, file my checkbook, and mentally prepare myself for what was coming next. Melodic came out using Toxic, educating me that I've never said most of these Pokemon names out loud, and little did they know, I could be Toxic too. This fight went on for multiple minutes, but Mudkip eventually found himself a victory somehow. Surprisingly, this wasn't the end, but after using Ice Beam, Wish Catch was frozen, and at this point it was just heart of the cards from there. With Wallace attempting to hold the throne and not lose to a 10-year-old, he threw out Gyarados, but you already know how that went. So just like that, Mudkip single-handedly became the champion of Hoenn's Elite Four. It was a long journey, but his very fitting lonely nature led him to victory. A lot of people said that a Mudkip couldn't accomplish such a daunting task, but let this be a lesson to you. No matter how large the obstacle may be, if you believe in yourself, you can accomplish anything if you have a drugged-up fish with legs by your side. One thing that I thought was funny during the credits is that they really want to walk you down memory lane by showing you all the Pokemon you caught, and, So thanks for watching. This was definitely one of the more fun videos to make. It takes a bit longer to create than typical gameplay videos, but I'm down to make more if you guys want them, so let me know in the comments of any other arbitrary challenge you can think of, and be sure to follow Nova for doing all the animations, and be sure to like and subscribe while you're here. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I've always been bad at making outros, especially when reading from a script, so...
Stunt performers. The brave entertainers who throw themselves out of moving cars, fall from skyscrapers, and light themselves on fire for our entertainment and the safety of Hollywood's elite actors. With the use of clever camera angles, makeup, and costumes, stunt performers blend into the scenes of action sequences never to be acknowledged by the general public. Since the first paid stunt in the 1908 film The Count of Monte Cristo, audiences have increasingly come to expect exponentially more explosive and dangerous on-screen spectacles. My name's Anthony Padilla, and today I'm going to be sitting down with some of Hollywood's most elite stunt performers to find out what it really takes to be the human punching bag of entertainment. What drives them to put their lives at risk on a daily basis? Do these performers ignore the potentially fatal risk of their jobs? Or do they live lives constantly paralyzed with fear? Yo, Randall!
What's up, brother?
Hey, Michelle!
Hi!
Thank you so much for coming out and teaching me about the wondrous world of stunt work.
Well, thank you for having me.
So what do you consider yourself? Stunt performer, stunt actor, stunt double?
I consider myself an action actor, but also
Action
a
actor.
professional stuntman.
Stunt performer.
Stunt performer?
Because it encompasses what it is to be a nondescript performer, where they can use you in multiple places, as well as being a stunt double, where you can double different actresses.
What does being a stunt performer consist of?
I train in martial arts, I train in tactical, in firearms, in fire, in driving cars, and riding horses, and falling off buildings, and flying
you do
through
it all.
walls. Like, yeah.
Horses, fire, cars, falling.
Yeah.
That can go from a wide range of, hey, I need you to take a run down the block.
Wait,
park
you'll
this
get hired to
car
just
right
run
here.
down a block?
Right?
Oh, I want to be a stuntman and run down a block.
When we get those days where it's pretty simple, we're happy about having an easy day.
How long have you been a stunt performer?
I've been in the industry 7 years, but 5 years consistently.
10 years.
10 years.
This is my decade.
What are some TV shows and movies that you've done stunt work for that people might have seen?
Black Panther.
Black
Wakanda Forever.
Panther!
Look. This is me right here on the wire.
Oh my God, that was your body?
Yeah, that was me, man. And I did that about 10 times as well, right? So this is how...
That's like a rag doll.
And this is how it turned out in the film.
Whoa!
Fear the Walking Dead Season 2.
Nice.
If you recognize me, that's not a good sign. Because I looked ratchet, but like not the cute ratchet. So we're all on this boat and we're coming after this guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know, killing people and slashing people and shooting people in the head. And then he gets a crossbow. And then I get stuck to the wall. So not only did we have this whole action sequence and then this, but then we had the fire.
Did your zombified body get set on fire?
I didn't get set on fire, but it got really, really, really hot. So they put this this gel, which is like to control where the fire is, and then they put an accelerator to help it go,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then it caught on the fabric of the sofa, and I'm like, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead.
Was it supposed to burn?
It wasn't supposed to burn that much.
What is your favorite or most elaborate stunt that you've been a part of?
When I worked on Fast and Furious 8 in Cuba.
Yeah.
Because we were in Cuba for 2 weeks, so that was really, really rad. So sometimes I'm in the car driving, sometimes I'm doing near misses, so I'm outside of the car like a pedestrian.
Right.
And then they're like jumping on the curb, the car's on fire, and you have to like get out of the way.
You gotta time
But
it
you have to
perfectly.
be like, comiendo mierda, como dicen los cubanos, like eating and then be like, oh my God, a car!
So right now, I'm inside of the car. I'm fully protected.
You're in the car right now?
Yeah, I'm in the car.
That's your body
That's
burning?
me. That's me right now.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
All they say is what the hell about
Right.
your burning body?
Hey, now that I think about it, looking back at that clip, and like you said, what the hell?
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
This.
You wanted to be a stunt performer when you were a kid?
I was inspired by Jackie Chan and Jet Li and even Chuck Norris and like all these incredible films, but they were all men.
Yeah.
They were all these amazing, badass men. And then I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do, but like as a woman. The
Right.
female version of a Jackie Chan.
How do you keep your body prepared for the physical demands of being a stunt performer?
Train.
Train. How
Yeah.
often are you on that train?
5-6 days a week.
And what kind of training do you do?
Like horses would be weekends.
You train on horses every weekend?
If the schedule avails, if
Whoa.
I'm working, then I'm working.
Because you always got to be prepared to jump on that horse.
Yeah.
How often are you bruised or injured?
A weekly basis.
Weekly?
If you start training at a high level of martial arts, you should start to expect that it's not going to be like, hiya! Like, it's not going to be basic. We're going to be going for the advanced stuff. And
Not like my yellow belt in karate that I got when I was 12?
Nothing wrong with a yellow belt when you're 12. But I'm trying to get a black belt. I'm trying to get lots of black belts so I can learn lots of different disciplines. And
What are you at now?
I'm going to be testing for a brown belt in Krav Maga.
Brown belts!
And that's a hard test.
Considering this is one of the only fields in Hollywood where people are consistently putting their lives at risk to entertain people,
Right.
do you feel stunt performers should be recognized more by the Academy Awards?
Yeah, I'll be honest and say
Yeah.
yes. And another honest opinion of mine would be, I'm gonna put like 110% of effort into my work, regardless if I'm getting an award or not.
How does the world of stunts, the community of stunts, not be better acknowledged, represented, and awarded
Yeah.
with all the other categories that we see at these main things? Like we used to be the unspoken people of Hollywood.
How are your feelings affected when people see a stunt performed that you performed and assume it was the actor that you were doubling?
Then I did my job. When like, oh, where can I see you? I'm like, you'll never see me.
Not if you did your job right.
If I did my job right, you will not have seen me.
Is there anything that you would want to say to all the people watching this who have no idea what it actually takes?
Each and every one of us, we put our hard work and life on the line. We put a lot of effort into what we do. We put a lot of energy into it, and I would just say, you know, we respect you guys, respect us. That's it.
Diego wants to know if there's any stunt that you refuse to perform.
I don't know, doing a full body burn naked. I'd probably be like, yeah, no, you should call somebody else.
There are these viral videos with these guys like on skyscrapers with no wires, no nothing, and they're like, I don't even know how high they're in the air. I'll never do like that. I'll never.
Are you ever scared of getting injured or even dying on set?
I've had thoughts, yes.
Yeah.
I've had thoughts. I would say the biggest thing is like my son, he'll be like, Dad, all right, man, I'll see you later. Like,
how old's
you
your
know, he's 12, he'll be 13 in September. And now he's getting to a point where he understands what I do
Yeah.
for work. I think he has grown to develop, I think, like a similar mindset of knowing that, you know, his dad will be okay.
So what do you
I
say to
just-
him to keep his nerves?
Your dad loves you, and you know I do this not only for myself. I do this for you. You know, I want you to be able to look back at me and say, you know, damn, my dad had the balls to do, you know, something that you don't really see like the average person doing.
I think it kind of motivates me to be an even better performer and to really be safe.
What do you say when you're like, you know, leaving
I'll
for
call
work in the
you as
morning?
soon as I wrap.
Yeah.
Like if I don't call you, that means I'm in a hospital. But like I've done some gnarly stunts, and as soon as it's done, I'm relieved to call them and be like, I'm okay. Because the one time I called them when I wasn't okay was a horrible experience. First, I thought I was gonna die. I got into a really bad accident on set. I was just really, really injured. My head had been hit really hard. I remember when I hit the ground, I was like, oh no. Everything got really quiet.
Did you feel pain, or did adrenaline hit you so hard that you were just...
No, there was no adrenaline. There was no nothing.
Really?
It was that much of an impact that it was like, peace. So it definitely changed me. And I think for the better. I think it was a blessing in disguise because it made me wiser about how I treat my body, how I take care of others when something's like not safe.
I read an article about how Hollywood's content boom is leading to more stunt person injuries and deaths. Is there any truth to that?
When you get involved in, you know, so much content and wanting to try to put so much content out, you have to have people to fill those positions. Now, not all the time are you going to have, you know, qualified people to fill those positions.
When people start rushing you for time, I think that's when you're more likely to get hurt.
Right, that's when...
Come on, everything's set. We're you know, running on daylight. I'm like, well, you're gonna run out of performers soon. You know, like, I don't know if you want to rush that because like certain things simply take time.
What's the worst part about being a stunt performer?
Yeah, we have to fit into sizes that are sometimes unreasonable because they're like,
Right.
we want you to be super strong but weigh 110 pounds. I'm like, that's so cute.
Can you rate my stunt work on a scale from Tom Cruise to Jackie Chan?
You?
I'm gonna do a stunt right now.
Oh, you're gonna do stunt?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
My name's Anthony Padilla.
Yeah, no, I guess it's more on the Tom Cruise level.
I'll take it. My name's Anthony Padilla.
10.
I feel good about
That was a
myself
great
right
job,
about
man.
now.
Hey, look.
Oh,
Hey,
thanks, man.
hey, what, can I do it too?
Wait, you think you can do my stunts?
I think I can do it.
Let's
man.
see it.
All right, my name is Clark Kent. Make sure you subscribe to Anthony Padilla.
Oh,
The gun's going.
oh. All right, you got 5 seconds to promote anything you want directly into camera. Go.
All right, so you can follow me on my Instagram at Randall_Pierre.
Check out my buddy. He's a stunt guy and he's an entrepreneur, and his company is called Mercenaries.
Thank you so
Is that
much,
it?
Michelle. That was it.
Oh my gosh,
that was
flew
it.
by. Thank you.
After spending the day with these brave Hollywood stunt performers, I've come to realize just how much they put their heart and soul into dangerous activities just for us to see things we could never experience in the real world, often without mainstream praise and accolade. In my mind, stunt work is often the most demanding job on any set, which is something we could all appreciate next time we see a stunt performed on screen. See you later, bye guys.
Press a like. I feel like it's really important to age gracefully.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yes, you are. You look great. What is he, 23?
I'm 13.
13, it's awesome.
Aren't you 31?
No, 13.
I am a fan of design, especially game design. One of my favorite things to do is get together with friends and sit around and talk about how we would design an entry in one of our favorite video game series. What the game does well already, what we'd like to see from the franchise in the future, what we would do if we got the chance to make our own Fire Emblem game, or Persona game, or a Pokemon game. Pokemon Blue was the first game I have any memory of playing, and I've always liked Pokemon, but I've never loved it. Like, I've never played a Pokemon game and been like, oh wow, they nailed it this time around, this is the best. Now Jello, you might ask, how would you, with your many years of not having any game design experience, go about designing a Pokemon game? Well, thank you very much for asking. I'd be happy to tell you my pitch for a brand new Pokemon game. Now, I'm not saying this is my pitch for the best Pokemon game ever. It's just a good Pokemon game. A nice Pokemon game. A Pokemon game I would like to see made. Couple of rules. The game I'm proposing has a real budget and time constraints, so I can't ask for anything that would take $500 million or man hours that we don't have. It has to be a reasonable pitch that's at least somewhat realistic, so you can't just pop in 1,000 new Pokemon into the game as though that wouldn't take any work. It also has to be like a Pokemon game for all ages, like a real one they'd actually try to sell, so you can't just be like, oh yeah, you joined the bad guy team. There's murder now, Pokemon die. Like, you know, this isn't Pokemon Special, they're never gonna do that. I know a lot of fan games go for the dark angle, this is not that. Just so you know, I'm mostly gonna be talking about mechanical and structural design and not so much like Pokemon designs themselves. Like, I actually like how most of the new Pokemon they've added in the past decade or so look. I don't have a problem with the designs. But before we can talk about any Pokemon game design at all, first I wanted to give a shout out to another game, Dragon City, because they sponsored this video, which was very nice of them. We wanted this pitch to have a bunch of cool custom artwork and nice editing, and we have a very, very big project coming out soon that needs all the funding it can get, and none of that would be possible without their help. So if you want to support the channel, click that link below to download the game. Do you like Pokemon but wish there were more dragon types? Well, Dragon City's got you covered. I picked it up pretty recently and I already have over 300 dragons, and there's still more. That's not even all of them. My personal favorites are the dragons that are not dragons, like Davy Jones Dragon and Mime Dragon. Each dragon generates gold so you can buy them food and train their attacks, hone their skills and make them stronger until your mime is unstoppable. Pit your dragons against other players in battle leagues and in the arena. Got friends? I sure hope so. Well, if you do, you can use Facebook Connect to play against your buddies and connect across all your devices. There's new events every single week, like this puzzle island where I managed to unlock 250,000 gold and 30,000 foods for my mime. Are you tired of Mime Dragon? That's no problem. Put him in a fight to the death. And you can even do it on auto battle mode so it saves you time and you don't have to watch. Or you can send him off on a quest to find you new buildings. There's so much to do, so check out Dragon City right now by clicking the link in the description below. There's no reason not to download it, unless you're too busy dragging your feet. Ah, I'm fired. Much like the breath of a dragon. Okay, I'm done. Back to the game pitch. So I think it's important when designing something to have a goal, like a thesis that you're designing your game around. So what do we want our game to do? What do we want our players to feel when they play it? For instance, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is built around creating a sense of exploration and growth. The entire game is structured around that concept. You explore places, you get rewarded by clearing shrines, you get stronger. With that new strength, you can explore new places like mountaintops and glaciers. It builds into itself really well. So say we want to design a Pokemon game. What are the core concepts of the Pokemon series? What do the developers want us to do? I would argue Pokemon has 3 goals, 3 theses we're going to structure our game around. First, of course, there's the obvious obvious one. You gotta catch them all, especially your favorite Pokemon. That's easy. Just have cute and fun Pokemon, encourage the people to catch them and trade them. The games do those really well already, unless they're Pokemon Coliseum, so we're not gonna change anything there. It's the other two that I really wanna focus on this video, and I'll keep the third for later, but most of this video covers the second thesis. And the second thesis is make the player feel like they are going on a Pokemon journey. That means exploring the region, meeting new people, getting stronger, collecting badges, etc., etc. To give the player a sense of adventure, and the fact that it is their adventure. This covers world design, the game's flavor, characters, structure. This is the one I'm going to be focusing on for most of the video, so let's dive right in. Here is the pitch. You are a new trainer who's just moved to the region of Regiona. Doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter where it's based on. You are ready to receive a Pokemon and start your adventure. But that's the key. This is supposed to be an adventure, and one of my big problems with recent Pokemon games is that the Pokemon world maps are so linear. You can't go where you want to. You can't explore. There's a power outage in this totally bright, well-lit, sunny city, but it's too dangerous to go there right now. Ignore all the people walking in and out. It is too dangerous. They are not real. For instance, take a look at the path the player has to take through each region in the different games. Kalos and Unova are both complete circles with only one direction to travel in, like a clock. And Alola is a series of small circles that you teleport between. The earlier generations have a little more variety, and you're free to explore and challenge some of the gym leaders out of order. For instance, in Johto, you can fight Chuck, Jasmine, and Price in any order you want. And in Kanto, you can actually fight Erica, Koga, Sabrina, Blaine, and even Surge in any order, so long as Koga is fought before Blaine. And now, okay, don't get me wrong, I am not one of those people who thinks that Generation 1 is the end-all be-all best Pokemon region. In fact, Kanto has been accessible in 5 generations of games now, and I hope we never see it again. But I do think there's a lot to be gained from giving the player options. We don't want the game to feel like a theme park ride with one track you go on while pre-painted areas kind of just pass you by in the background in a set order. So, to remedy that, I am going to propose my first major status quo change for this game, and it's the biggest one, so bear with me here. Instead of having 2 different versions of the game, like Black and White or Sun and Moon, there are 3 of them. And each version starts you off with a different starter Pokemon in a different starting location. One for the grass starter, one for the fire starter, and one for the water starter. The idea is there are 3 professors, and they're all goofy and quirky and fun, and they're rivals with one another, and they want to have a competition. Each of them is going to entrust a starter Pokemon and a Pokedex to a different trainer at the same time, and then send them out into the world. Whichever trainer brings back the most research material for their professor is the winner. So each professor picks a trainer, and these guys are like your friendly rivals, like your Shaunas, your Hows, your Berries, you get the idea. I'm just gonna collectively call them your buds. When the player picks one of these 3 versions, their character will stand in for one of the 3 buds. So you only get 2 of the buds in any given version. Or maybe the 3rd one can also be there, but like they're not important in that version, they're just in the background drinking tea or whatever. Each of the 3 versions starting areas are really different. So let's say there's a fire themed area, a water one, a grass one, just to match the starters. But the key is that all the areas have to be cool and interesting. You don't want players to avoid picking up one of the versions just because the starting area in that one is lame. Each of these towns has a unique set of Pokemon that live around there, with a variety of types that you can catch right off the bat. So maybe the fire themed area is like a factory with steel and poison types, or a festival town with lots of lights and electric Pokemon. The grass area is like a forest, but it's a haunted forest, or a magic forest with ghosts and fairy and dragon Pokemon everywhere, like fairy tale themed. And then the water town is an oasis in the middle of a desert, or maybe it's at the top of a really tall waterfall in the clouds and there's just bird Pokemon everywhere. You get the idea. So each of these towns is on the far edges of the region, like they're all tucked away in their own little respective corners, and there's only one route leading in and out of each of them. That way, you can design a small, linear stretch of the game to serve as a prologue, so no matter which version a player picks up, new players won't get confused and you can still teach them the ropes. And at the same time, veteran players get to check out a new kind of starting area instead of just, here's a Pidgey, here's a Rattata, there's grass. I realize this is kind of a radical change from the status quo, but I think it would be just enough to really shake things up without bucking the series formula entirely. Plus, 3 versions instead of 2 is gonna look really good from a marketing standpoint, especially if you make all the games significantly different from each other so people want to buy all of them. So the way the game works is you get your Pokemon from the professor and you get your Pokedex, and they're like, hey, every town has an optional research quest you can do for me, like a little dungeon or a scavenger hunt or something. And they're not mandatory, but you should go do them. And you get to the end of the starting area, and there's a gym leader you have to fight. And you beat that guy, and he's like, hey, you should go collect all the badges. And you're like, yeah, you know what? That sounds fun. I'd love to go collect all the badges. Where should I go next? And the answer is anywhere. Once you have your first badge, the world is yours to explore. Like, half the map is open immediately. So here's how I think this would work. The region is split into 4 different areas. I'm gonna call them counties, because that's folksy. So each of the starting areas is in its own county. And then there's like another county in the middle, and that's where the Pokemon League is. And you can just go wherever you want. I mean, some areas are too high leveled for you at the start, and if you waltz over there with your level 10 Bidoof, you're gonna get your butt kicked, but you can go there. There's no intricate plot or anything other than you want to explore. But you've got badges, and the professors are giving you these research quests, and those act as goalposts to kind of direct you to different places that you want to investigate. The player gets an item that allows them to fast travel between towns, something like fly really early on in the game. That way they're not afraid to explore too far in any given direction, and they can just zip back to places they might have missed. You don't want anyone to get stuck in an area that's too high leveled and then not give them an escape route. I don't know what it would be, like maybe a fast pass on some kind of public transport, or each of the professors has like a giant bird that they lend you. It doesn't really matter. Have like a little indicator of the average Pokemon level on the bottom of the screen when you're exploring, so a player immediately knows if they're out of their depth when they walk into a place that's like 30 levels higher than they are. Make it so that when you're under leveled, the run mechanic has like a way higher chance of working, so low level players don't just get destroyed by a wild Pokemon encounter. But also, you know, like put a high level trainer blocking the route's exits so they can't just waltz through the whole game while running from all the monsters. So they're all optional, but I think it'd be really cute if the more research quests that you completed, the more the professor enhances your starting town using the information you get them. So like the game goes on and your town gets bigger and better and the local economy's doing really well, and it's all because of you, so everybody really likes you. That'd be really like a nice concrete way to mark the player's progress and a good excuse for the professor to give him rewards. I like that. Most of the world map is open at the start, but there's a bunch of these little optional dungeons and secret areas that are blocked off until you get either a special item that works like an HM or a special Pokemon. So like maybe you start in the woods near the grass starter, and there's this pitch black stretch of forest, and you just can't get through there until you find the night vision goggles from the factory by the fire starter. Or maybe you get like an Ampharos or an Illumis or something, and they can light the way, I don't know. The world map is a little bit like a giant JRPG Metroidvania. Hide most of the good TMs and a lot of stat up items in the dungeon. Like if you want a good TM, like if you want Earthquake, you're gonna have to find that in the Earthquake Cave. Some dungeons have Pokemon bosses at the end of them, so like a totem Pokemon style thing or like a Snorlax, and then you have to fight it. And you get a reward for beating them, because I really like the Pokemon bosses that are actually Pokemon instead of trainers. So you might be wondering how they're going to balance a game as open as this one. It's easy to balance a linear RPG because you know exactly where your player will be and when they'll be there, but it's a lot harder when they can just kind of wander around wherever. So there are 2 big balancing factors that I thought of. The first is that each county kind of has its own generalized difficulty level. So the first one you start out in is like level 5 to level 25 or level 30, and all the trainers and wild Pokemon there are kind of around that level. So then the other 2 counties you didn't start in are statted somewhere like 20 to 60, and that way if you wander in there early on, you can explore a little. But there's definitely areas that you have to train your way up to before you can explore the entirety of the county. And obviously these difficulty levels would switch around based on which version you got, so you always start in the easy one. Then the middle county is like, that's the final county. It starts at like level 45 at the absolute lowest. I like the idea that you can kind of wander into that county really early on and see all the powerful trainers there, because it kind of gives the player something to work towards, and I think that's really important in a game as open as this. There's a lot of strong trainers in the world, and if you want to be strong like them, I think you should work for it. The other big balancing factor is the gyms. A lot of secondary Poke media like Pokemon Origins and the manga have this ongoing thing where gym leaders actually have multiple teams of Pokemon, not just one, and they're all at different levels of strength. And the gym leader uses a different team based on how many badges the challenger has. So say the challenger has 1 badge, you might fight like 2 Pokemon around level 10, but if the challenger has 6 badges, it could be a team of 5 Pokemon in the like late 30s, early 40s. That's a really cool idea, and I want to run with it. That way, if a player is like level 50 now, but they missed a gym earlier and it's back in a level 20 area, the gym leader isn't just stupid weak and an easy fight. That way you can't just brainlessly power through things. There's some cool Pokemon ROMs out there like Pokemon Crystal Clear that do something like this, though that game also makes every trainer level up depending on how many badges you have, and I actually really don't like that. So I'm just gonna make it the gym leaders. Also, gym leaders no longer specialize in one specific type of Pokemon anymore. Pokemon has done this to death. I think there is nothing more that can be done with it. So instead, gyms are now based around specific themes and mechanics. So instead of an electric gym or a bug gym, there's a sound gym. And the gym leader is like a pop idol named Melody, and all the Pokemon in her gym are sound-based. So it's like Whismers and Jigglypuffs and Chattots, Chinglings, Chimecho. They all use moves like Uproar and Sonic Boom and Sing. And then, you know, if you're having trouble, there's like a dude sitting on a bench outside the gym who's like, "Oh gee, I hear there's a Pokemon with an ability called Soundproof that prevents all sound-based moves, but you can only get it in this specific cave that's far away from here." That way you can still have a cool, cohesive theme for your gym leader, but a player doesn't just need to be like, "Oh, it's an electric type gym, I have a ground type, I win." Like, there's still a hard counter strategy, but they kind of gotta work for it if they want to cheat their way through. I think gyms based around mechanical concepts are really cool too. So Pokemon has like 7 million moves and abilities nowadays, and you can use those to construct a lot of really cool specific challenges for players to overcome. Some other ideas for gyms I had. A gym based around weather effects would be really fun. The gym leader's like a weather lady, and her gym is a TV station or something, and she uses combo moves like Sunny Day Solar Beam and Rain Dance Thunder. A gym all about friendship, like every Pokemon there evolves from friendship, so it's like Blissey and Umbreon, and the gym leader's got like a Crobat at max friendship that uses Return, that move that gets stronger the more your Pokemon likes you. I kind of want him to be like a biker or something who looks really intimidating, but he's just a really cool dude. Like, the gym is a biker bar, but they're all just bros and they're all about being buds and how awesome it is to be nice to other people.
Baby Pokemon gym.
Status effect gym, this is the worst one, everybody hates it. A gym based around gender, so half the trainers use girl-only Pokemon, some of them use boy-only Pokemon. The gym leader is like a double battle against a really lovey-dovey couple with matching Pokemon like Miltank and Tauros, or Loomis and Volbeat. And if you want to cheese it, then you could just bring in an ungendered Pokemon so they can't use a tract or whatever on you. You get the idea. There's just a million cooler, more interesting things to do than, "Here's another water gym." And I think Pokemon's been sleeping on it for like a decade. There would either be 2 gyms in each county, or my ideal preference, stay with me, we could go full-on Pokemon anime, and there are 10 gyms. But you only need to beat 8 of them if you want to get into the Pokemon League. And that way, if one of the gyms is giving you a ton of trouble, you can just go, I'm just gonna skip this one. And I think that'd be more work, and it's a little less realistic. I don't think they'd do it. But it would lead to a lot of really cool, unique player experiences. Like, "Hey, did you play that game? Which gym did you skip?" "Oh, I skipped this one. I did all of them. That one specific gym was really hard. I totally hated it." This also means that if you already have 8 badges and you show up to one of the last 2 gyms, they can be like, "Oh, so you got all 8 badges, huh? Okay, I'm gonna fight you for real." And then they're like a bonkers hard super boss. I think being able to fight all the gym leaders at their full strength would be a really fun post-game challenge once you beat the Elite Four. Most of the games have something like that nowadays, so this one would too. I think it would also be cool if some of the gyms could be skipped if you do like a specific side quest for them. Like, maybe there's a gym leader who's a firefighter or something, and if you help him out rescuing this Pokemon from a burning building dungeon, he'll be like, "Hey man, that was really nice of you. You know, I'm actually the local gym leader. Here, have my badge. You earned it, man. But you can still come fight me if you want. I'll give you a cool TM if you win, but like, the badge is yours, kid. You got it." I think that'd be nice. It's also a good way to add more optional quests to the game, and another good workaround for gym leaders that are giving a player too much trouble. I mean, after all, they level with your badge count now, so you can't just grind to power past them. In addition to the gyms and the research quests, I think there's also going to be a handful of what I'm going to call story events. These are when you interact with your buddies, your rivals, or the bad guy team, who I'm just going to call Team Bad Guy. There are event flags at a bunch of different points in the game depending on how far along you are. So say you've just left the starting fire town. Depending on which way you go, you will either meet the water buddy for the first time here or here. So no matter which way you go, you have to encounter them. But where you do it is up to you. Also, some of these event flags are totally missable, like the one where you fight your rival a little bit to the west of Viridian City in red and blue. You can totally skip that fight if you do Pewter City first, and then it's just gone. You can't do it anymore. So let's say there's an event in this town with the Grass Buddy, but once you're past level 35 or you've grabbed 5 badges, she's not there anymore. She's just gone. So these flags will appear and disappear throughout the game, and they're different in each version. But by the end of the game, you should have encountered both of your buddies, let's say like 3 times on the low end, 6 or 8 times if you encounter them at every possible opportunity. The villainous team, Team Bad Guy, would work the exact same way. So in every Pokemon game, there's a bad guy group kind of associated with the story, and the problem with them is There's no nice way to say this. Pokemon's writing is bad. It's so bad. It's always bad. The villains are anywhere on a sliding scale of cartoonishly terrible to literally the worst villain I've ever seen, and I have played Kingdom Hearts. What is your plan? And the reason for this is, the writers seem to think that Pokemon needs these big JRPG villains who want to blow up the world and replace it with a new world, and like, they don't need any of that. It's way too big a scale and it's ridiculous. As a player, I want to collect Pokemon and be friends with them. Team Bad Guy wants to steal Pokemon from me and treat them badly for financial gain. That's it. They're jerks. That's all they need to be. If they're jerks, I want to stop them. There doesn't need to be more than that. This is why Team Rocket works and Team Flare doesn't, because they don't even have a cohesive theme. Like, they don't even know why they're Team Flare. You can ask them. They'll be like, I don't know. I like fashion and money. So for the sake of flavor, let's say our Team Bad Guy is Mafia themed. Like, they walk around with violin cases and they open them up and it's a cricket tune and he comes out and he gets you. And they send you for a dip in the river with cement shoes from a conkeldurr. Oh, I said there's no murder. Well, you get the idea. They're gangsters. Team Bad Guy's got a set number of places they can show up. There's always at least one at the end of the prologue, so new players will meet them and go, oh, these are the bad guys. I don't like them. I should fight them if I see them. Then after that, there's just a bunch of different events where you can encounter them doing various schemes, and a bunch of them probably tie in with the research quests, like, they stole a Pokemon fossil. You gotta get it back. So for instance, maybe you're playing the Fire version and there's a bank in one of the first towns you can go to, and there's rumors flying around that Team Bad Guy's gonna rob the bank. And if you get there before, like, I don't know, 3 badges, then you can stop the heist. However, if you never visit that town or don't do that bank dungeon, then they succeed with their robbery, and now all their goons have potions they bought using the bank money. So the game gets a little harder. And if you're playing the grass version, which starts really far away from that bank town, you won't be able to get to the bank in time. But the NPCs will tell you that, oh, the Fire Buddy ended up stopping that robbery. Instead, you get to fight Team Bad Guy on, like, a riverboat, and you gotta fight him in this riverboat casino, and it's exclusive to the start of this version. And then in the Fire and Water versions, it's like, oh yeah, I heard Grass Buddy stopped them from taking over that riverboat. That was really nice of them. But in this version exclusively, you get to do it. This way, the world feels like it exists beyond just the player character. It's important that your actions and the actions of other characters have consequences in your world, otherwise it feels soulless. This is why Skyrim's world feels so bland, because you can spend hours doing something like ending the Civil War quest line, and then after you do that, nothing changes. All the enemy camps are still in the same spot, they still attack you, the nation's still at a standstill, and the only difference is that some people sit in different chairs, and guards are like, wow, the Civil War sure is over. Don't investigate. Hidely-ho. It's bad. So we don't want that. I also really want there to be like one member of Team Bad Guy who acts as your main rival. Let's just call him Jerk. And Jerk is like an old school Pokemon rival. He's like your blue, your silver. He's the one you want to punch in the face. And like, you keep bumping into him, and at first he's just like a flunky, but every time you see him, he's risen up a few more ranks in the industry, and then by the end of the game, he's the final boss. Whoa, he got strong. It's kind of dumb and cheesy, but I always really like it when the mini boss you've been fighting the whole game is like suddenly the final boss. I think that's a cool climax. Beyond that, I don't really think there needs to be much of a story, and while I'd love to see a Pokemon game with a well-written plot, with this game's open structure, I'm already asking for a lot, and I don't think this is the game for a sweeping storyline. But what this game does need is to be charming. So, I would recommend hiring a writer. Maybe even like 2 or 3. I know. This is probably the most radical change I am asking of Game Freak. But to take an open-ended game from good to great, it needs to be charming. I want to like the NPCs, whether it's a named character or like a bug catcher on the side of the road. Pokemon's dialogue is so bizarre. Like, characters will just randomly spout nonsense and philosophy apropos of nothing, and nobody talks or acts like a real person. No shade, unlike Nintendo of America or whatever, but Pokemon's localization is always really, really awkward and really bad. We're kind of desensitized to it at this point. It's like Pokemon is a weird, well-meaning uncle at a family gathering, and he'll walk up to you and be like, the nonsense, and your friend standing next to you will be like, what the heck did he mean? And you're like, it's just Uncle Pokemon. He's just like that. But like, it's really kind of uncanny what they can get away with, because if this weren't a game with such brand power and recognition, people would be like, What are you talking about? Why do you say these things? So what I'm shooting for is charm. And if you want an example of what I mean by charm, I'm thinking like Trails in the Sky style. And if you've never played it, because no one's ever played it, Trails is a JRPG from the early 2000s. It's kind of ugly and the gameplay leaves a bit to be desired, but the characters are just good. Like, not just the name characters, like everybody is good, and I like all of the NPCs, and I just want to help everybody I meet. I'd go so far as to say the first chapter of Trails in the Sky is almost exclusively carried by solid dialogue and likable characters, especially the lead. She's fantastic. The only Pokemon game that's really had good writing to any degree is maybe some of the Mystery Dungeon games, and given Pokemon's general track record at this point, I feel like those were just a fluke. So, hire some writers. Just hire a good localization team. Bam, bing, bam, boom. That's all you gotta do. So that's pretty much it for the story and structural changes. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit about mechanical nitpicks and little other things I'd like to change. First of all, don't force the players to watch tutorials at the beginning of the game. I'd be willing to bet that actually 70% of the people playing Pokemon nowadays already know how to catch a Pokemon and know how to use a potion. I understand that these games are for children, I get it, and I know that you have to teach them. But I think it would be pretty easy to add a dialogue box that asks, hey, do you already know how to catch a Pokemon? And then you click yes, and they go, great, moving along. Legendary Pokemon, no more of them. Full disclosure, I hate legendary Pokemon. Their involvement in the story is always dumb and thrown in at the last minute. There's so many legendaries, they don't feel special anymore. They're not fun to catch. So this game is just gonna be like almost devoid of legendary Pokemon. And instead of them using legendaries as the mascots, it's just gonna be the starters. Like, starters are cuter anyway. They'll sell more plushies. There can be maybe like one legendary Pokemon in a cave somewhere, and it never interacts with the story, and it's just an optional super boss you can catch. And if you have to have a legendary Pokemon, instead of just making it like super strong, make it gimmicky. Give me like a kit that's just weird, like it's based on all these unique moves and it's just stupid and niche and fun. Don't make it super strong. Difficulty level. So Pokemon games are for children, so they skew on the easy side, and that's fine. Honestly, I don't really want Pokemon games to be hard. They don't need to be hard, but like, again, this is the most successful franchise in human history, and tens of millions of your players are now teenagers or adults who have been playing Pokemon for years, decades even. So it might be nice if there was an option to play with a slightly trickier difficulty level. Pokemon has experimented with difficulty levels in Black and White, but the way they did it was really weird. Like, hard mode was exclusive to Black and easy mode was exclusive to White, and then you had to unlock them by beating the game on normal mode? Like, who plays a game on normal mode and is then like, oh, that was really tough. I'm glad I unlocked easy mode so I can play the whole game I just beat again, but easier. No one ever. What is that design choice? So have the difficulty levels available at the beginning of the game, maybe just 2 of them, normal and like challenge or master mode, and bump up the average trainer level a little bit. Give trainers bigger teams. Like, I played through Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which are like the easiest games in the series, and I think there were literally 3 trainers in the whole game with a team of more than 3 or 4 Pokemon. And it's you, the champion, and like that one dude who's really dedicated to having a team of 6 Magikarps. You know, that guy who's just sticking to that strategy. So we're pretty far into this video, and now I'm gonna go back to the beginning and grab those 3 theses, because I didn't mention the third one. Now we're taking it out. That third thesis is finally relevant, and that is encouraging players to love and befriend their Pokemon. So Pokemon's always done this thing where they say the reason your player character is such a good trainer is because you love your Pokemon and you treat them like partners instead of tools. And until recently, they've done a really bad job reinforcing this through the mechanics. But in X and Y, they added Pokémon-Ami, and Pokémon-Ami is a really good addition. You get to pet your Pokemon, you can feed them, you can play with them, and that's really cute, but it's also really imbalanced because if you feed your Pokemon cupcakes for 25 minutes straight, you can take even the worst Pokemon from Team Benchwarmer and make them an unstoppable killing machine, because that affection rank will give them a dodge bonus, a crit bonus, experience bonus. It makes them too powerful. It's completely busted. They have another Pokémon-Ami-like system in Sun and Moon, and it's still too powerful. I stopped petting my Pokemon at one point because if I pet them anymore, they would get too strong for me, and they'd beat everything up, and there'd be no challenge left in the game, and it would be boring. And I don't want to not pet my Pokemon, because if I pet them, the game will suck. So if they took that system and just rebalanced balanced it so it was a little less powerful, that would be awesome. Or maybe they could add an item like a friendship bracelet. And if you get that friendship bracelet, you can put it on your favorite Pokemon and they get all those bonuses. They get really strong. That way you can have your really powerful Pokemon and there can be like 2 or 3 friendship bracelets hidden in really difficult dungeons. So if you really want a team of overpowered Pokemon, then you can have it and it's a reward instead of just something that's arbitrarily tied to the affection mechanic. Also, IVs are bad. We're getting rid of them. We're cutting the IV drip. IVs just make certain Pokemon objectively better than others. It's just bad. It's just something that makes people grind for more, better Pokemon. It goes against the spirit of the series, so we're getting rid of it entirely. And I know that might be kind of a controversial decision because it's used a lot in competitive Pokemon. I don't play competitive, and I'm not going to pretend to understand it, but I feel like the fun of competitive Pokemon comes from coming up with a cool strategy and a cool team and pitting it against other cool teams with cool strategies. So here's what we'll do. Instead of like a battle frontier or something, we're gonna have the battle simulator. Players can sit down and create a digital Pokemon team from scratch. You pick whatever moves and abilities from their move pool you want. You get to give them whatever item you want without having to go out and collect it. And it's all just in this virtual space. And players can do this right out of the gate. Like it's just in a console in the Pokemon Center or something. So you can go right into playing competitive Pokemon against your friends before your first badge. Other small points. Let me rename traded Pokemon. I don't understand why this is still something you can't do. What is this even preventing? Like, you trade a Pokemon to a guy, and before he gives it back to you, he names it Butt Fart. So what? You can go change it back. And like, if he's really determined to be a jerk and mess with you, he's just gonna keep the Pokemon regardless of whether he can rename it or not. I feel like this feature causes more frustration than it alleviates. Also, traded Pokemon shouldn't get an EXP boost anymore just from being traded. I think the original purpose for this was to encourage kids back in like the olden days to trade Pokemon, buy a link cable, get the other version, spend more money, and that way the traded Pokemon they worked hard for is like better. But now you can just get a traded Pokemon through the GTS or Wonder Trade like instantly. Why does that Pokemon level faster? Get rid of that, it's dumb. Camera, zoom the camera out a little bit and have more of the overworld on screen at once. Ever since Pokemon hit its full 3D stride, I feel like the overworld's been a lot less fun to explore. Like, compare how much of the screen your player character takes up in the old games to the more recent ones. Just come on, just scoot it out a bit. Thank you guys for watching this very long video. I know this isn't normally the kind of thing we make, so let me know if you liked it, let me know if it was awful, but I'm interested to hear your feedback. Special thank you to everyone who helped us gather footage. Extra special thank you to our guest editor, Piff. He did a really good job. And super special thank you to Dragon City again for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below if you want to be a dragon.
Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you've had a fantastic Monday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing we're going to talk about today is why we had Scarlett Johansson in the news. So in a recent interview with As If magazine, Scarlett Johansson was quoted saying that she should, quote, be allowed to play any person or any tree or any animal because that is my job and the requirements of my job. And that quote reignited a debate on social media about diversity in casting, a controversy that Johansson has actually found herself in multiple times. As you might remember, she was previously criticized for accepting the role of a transgender man in the film Rub and Tug, where she ended up stepping down from the role last summer amid calls for the character to be actually played by a trans actor instead. Before that, Johansson had faced backlash for playing a Japanese character in Ghost in the Shell, which critics again argued should have been played by a Japanese actor. And so with this new quote out there, you had a lot of people angry again. Just a few examples. Last year, ScarJo was the highest paid female actor in Hollywood, making $40.5 million. The fact that she still feels she deserves to take up space and jobs away from trans/people of color actors is a microcosm of how people still don't really understand how allyship works. Another writing, yes, ScarJo, you should be able to play a tree, because there aren't countless sentient trees desiring to act yet struggling to get cast in roles. But there are a ton of LGBTQIAI non-binary actors who have vocalized that they would love to represent those characters. Others saying that she has learned nothing, but still, of course, at the same time, there were those that defended ScarJo. Examples like Scarlett Johansson said she wants to play any role she wants, you know, like actors do, and that's what y'all are bitching about today. Another reading, last week, anyone should be able to play Ariel. This week, ScarJo wants to play someone else. Cancel. You guys are funny. And others arguing acting as an art involves the embodiment of another person, thing, etc. Any and all artists have the right to expand their horizons. And what followed all of this was Scarlett Johansson releasing a statement on Sunday through her representative saying that the interview, as it's been quoted, has been edited for clickbait and is widely taken out of context. And she explains that the question she was answering was about the, quote, confrontation between political correctness and art. I personally feel that in an ideal world, any actor should be able to play anybody, and art in all forms should be immune to political correctness. That is the point I was making, albeit didn't come across that way. I recognize that in reality, there is a widespread discrepancy amongst my industry that favors Caucasian cisgendered actors, and that not every actor has been given the same opportunities that I have been privileged to. I continue to support and always have diversity in every industry and will continue to fight for projects where everyone is included. And so it's been interesting to watch reactions online from first when the quote came out to then her statement. You know, a lot of people who had originally defended her saying, I hate seeing her walk this back. Also, I mean, you saw some happy for the clarification, but there were also still people that were angry about the original quote and still didn't think that this was enough. It's also been interesting to see this kind of conversation happening out there of this kind of this outrage or like the canceling of Scarlett Johansson for, let's say, wanting to play a trans man in Rub and Tug. Is that the best thing? And in part, the reason that conversation and debate is happening is because right now it appears that that movie is no longer going to be made. A movie that could have shared a trans story now not being made, although the part of the debate is maybe it should wait. Now, as far as my personal opinion on this, I can understand where people do have an issue, but ultimately I think that part of being an actor is having the ability to embody somebody else, someone that is not you, has an entirely different background. And you know, looking at the Scarlett Johansson trans man situation, I can't help but look back to 2014, specifically then because you had Jared Leto actually winning an Oscar for playing a trans woman. Although of note, there were people at that time that still had an issue. But hey, ultimately that's the story, my opinion as of now. And whether you agree or disagree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts here. You know, part of the interesting thing for me with this story is seeing someone's different point of view because of their different upbringing, their different background. And so like to the people that disagree with me here, I'd love to know your thoughts. Educate me. What do you think is the perfect solution? Or is there even a perfect solution in this kind of imperfect world? I don't know. Any and all thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in those comments down below. Then in kind of quickie internet news, the internet is likely going to be taking a detour this week. It appears, unless there is a schedule change, which can and has happened in the past, Shane Dawson will be returning to YouTube. Now, for pretty much any other YouTuber, no offense, that's usually not newsworthy. But as has happened with his last several series, in large, the internet kind of just takes a break from whatever it's doing and it looks. Last time, one of the big standouts was the conspiracy theory around Chuck E. Cheese pizza. Watching the chaos that came from those videos was very interesting. Before that, of course, doing the unthinkable for many, making Jake Paul seem like a human person. Although part of the conversation that stemmed from that was Jake Paul's business practices, specifically advertising towards children. And this time, just as before, it's gonna be interesting to see what he focuses on and what fallout comes from it. Now, for those hoping for the drama, it might not be there. I mean, we know that he's doing a joint project with Jeffree Star, who is also in the news recently because it appears that he took a shot at Kylie Jenner, specifically around her new skincare venture, although he is not alone in that. So that series appears to not be happening till the fall. And this one, there's a lot of question marks, although some people think that it's about a haunted hotel, but really, who knows? But hey, ultimately, we're just gonna have to wait to see. But from that, I wanna share some stuff I love today, and Today in Awesome, brought to you by a brand new drop happening right now at shopdefranco.com. Today is the day, right now is the moment we are doing our over and under shopdefranco.com drop. We have the I love it so much woven summertime flamingo shirt with that secret message right in there on the collar so you can carry around that have a great fucking day energy all day. Then underneath we have 3 pairs of fantastic socks. We have the have a great fucking day so you can embody that from head to toe. Pretentious, because of course we did. And the fantastic, and in this case, punny, let's jump into it. Great on their own, or if you get 2, you can get the 3rd free. And then finally we have the 2 boxer briefs and boy shorts. You know, depending on how you want to be held. We have the super slick, pretentious briefs and shorts, and the 2 perfect to not make them let's jump into it design. Also very awesome, if you buy both boy shorts or both boxer briefs, you'll get the second one half off. What I'll say here at the end of the push is if you like anything that you see, get it right now. Because not only are these new designs, but they're just brand new products that we have no historical data to know if people love them or they don't. We've done pretty limited runs here to minimize the risk. But what I do know is for those who are quick enough and lucky enough to grab them while they can, you're gonna love all the stuff you get. Because part of the reason that it took so long to finally launch this is there was just a lot of time dedicated to making sure it was just the premium product that I wanted to release. But yeah, rush over to shopdefranco.com, first come, first served. Enjoy, and also, thank you. And the first bit of awesome is we got a brand new epic rap battle of history. George Carlin versus Richard Pryor, asterisk, there are also some other people. And we got the official trailer for Our Boys. We had GOT7 taking a friendship test. Julia Michaels creating the playlist of her life. We got Kevin Smith's 5 things to watch out for at San Diego Comic-Con. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day say really anything at all. Links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about why this morning you maybe saw that hashtag racist president was trending. So yesterday, Donald Trump went to Twitter and wrote, "So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they even have a functioning government at all, now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Then come back and show us how it is done. These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough." I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements. Right, so that might have been a lot to hit you with. For some quick context, what Trump seems to be referring to here is the news coverage last week that Nancy Pelosi was clashing with 4 congresswomen known as the Squad. And that group includes Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley. And notably, they're all progressive freshman Democrats and women of color representing different states. And also a massive note here is that all of these women were actually born in the United States except Omar. She was actually born in Somalia, but she fled the country during the Civil War there when she was a child and later became a U.S. citizen when she was a teenager. And while there have been clashes between Pelosi and some of the members in the past, tensions really grew recently when the Squad voted against the $4.5 billion border aid bill. This because they said that they were concerned that the money would go towards Trump's immigration crackdown rather than bettering conditions in detention centers. And those tensions really boiled over last week after Pelosi told the New York Times that the Squad, quote, didn't have any following. That did not go over so well, and after a closed-door meeting, AOC told the Washington Post that Pelosi was explicitly singling out newly elected women of color. And all of that brings us back to Trump's tweets, where after that was posted, the internet exploded. We saw the 4 congresswomen responding to Trump with AOC saying on Twitter, "Mr. President, the country I come from and the country we all swear to is the United States. But given how you've destroyed our border with inhumane camps, all at a benefit to you and the corps who profit off them, you are absolutely right about the corruption laid at your feet." Continuing later, "You are angry because you can't conceive of an America that includes us. You rely on a frightened America for your plunder." And adding, "But you know what's the rub of it all, Mr. President? On top of not accepting an America that elected us, you cannot accept that we don't fear you either. You can't accept that we will call your bluff and offer a positive vision for this country. And that's what makes you seethe." Omar saying the only country we swear an oath to is the United States. And adding, "Which is why we are fighting to protect it from the worst, most corrupt and inept president we have ever seen. You are stoking white nationalism because you are angry that people like us are serving in Congress and fighting against your hate-filled agenda." Presley also responded, writing in a tweet, "This is what racism looks like. We are what democracy looks like." Tlaib also responded in a series of tweets, asking, "Want a response to a lawless and complete failure of a president? He is the crisis. His dangerous ideology is the crisis. He needs to be impeached." Later tweeting out a video and writing in the caption, "I will never back down, and no bully, even this racist president, will waver the work we have to do." And of course, there were a lot of other responses. The Washington Post reported that by Sunday evening, at least 90 Democrats and an independent who actually just left the Republican Party had denounced the president's remarks. And that is too many to read off, but notably Pelosi was one of them. Writing, "When Donald Trump tells 4 American congresswomen to go back to their countries, he reaffirms his plan to make America great again has always been about making America white again. Our diversity is our strength, and our unity is our power. I reject Donald Trump's xenophobic comments meant to divide our nation. Rather than attack members of Congress, he should work with us for humane immigration policy that reflects American values. Stop the raids, families belong together." Also of note, we did see several Republicans come out to criticize Trump's comments. Republican Representative Chip Roy tweeted yesterday, "POTUS was wrong to say any American citizen, whether in Congress or not, has any home besides the United States." But then also adding, "I just as strongly believe non-citizens who abuse our immigration laws should be sent home immediately, and representatives who refuse to defend America should be sent home November 2020. Republican Representative Pete Olson also tweeted this morning, saying the tweet from the president is not reflective of the values of the 1 million plus people in Texas 22. We are proud to be the most diverse congressional district in America. I urge our president immediately disavow his comments. It was also reported this morning that Republican Rep Will Hurd told CNN those tweets are racist and xenophobic. Republican Senator Pat Toomey said it was wrong for the president to suggest that 4 left-wing congresswomen should go back from where they came from. And you even had Lindsey Graham kind of criticize the president, but then really go the other way, along with telling the president, aim higher, they are American citizens, they won an election, take on their policies. He also said,
"We all know that AOC and this crowd are a bunch of communists. They hate Israel. They hate our own country."
And that is where the story ended. I'm just kidding. This morning, Donald Trump responded to the responses, tweeting, "When will the radical left congresswomen apologize to our country, the people of Israel, and even the office of the president for the foul language they have used and the terrible things they have said? So many people are angry at them and their horrible and disgusting actions." And then tweeting a little later, "If Democrats want to unite around the foul language and racist hatred spewed from the mouths and actions of these very unpopular and unrepresentative congresswomen, it will be interesting to see how it plays out. I can tell you that they have made Israel feel abandoned by the U.S. Also, during a press conference this morning, we saw President Trump say,
"These are people that, in my opinion, hate our country. Now, you can say what you want, but get a list of all of the statements they've made. And all I'm saying that if they're not happy here, they can leave. They can leave, and you know what? I'm sure that there'll be many people that won't miss them.
Also, reportedly, when asked about white nationalists who have come out in support of Trump's tweet, Trump said he was unconcerned, saying, quote, "It doesn't concern me because many people agree with me." Also, this morning we saw Pelosi send a letter to Democratic Congress members urging them to support a resolution that would condemn Trump's tweets. And in that, also saying our Republican colleagues must join us in condemning the president's xenophobic tweets. And on that note, actually, while we were recording this, a growing number of Republican representatives and senators have come out and condemned Trump's tweets. And as far as my reaction to this, let's be real, nobody's surprised by this anymore, right? This isn't some like weird side effect or some slip. This is the strategy. The outrageous comments, the divisiveness, that is the playbook. I mean, just first off, just very much on the nose. It's not like this is the first time Donald Trump accused someone that was darker than him from originally being born somewhere else. As some might recall, before being the president of the United States, in addition to being a businessman, a person on TV, Donald Trump was a birther. And I really do not know how people can defend the statement. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? That is some shit that if we didn't talk about this whole story and I was like, yeah, did you see what David Duke tweeted? Yeah, he told those 4 American congresswomen to go back to the broken and crime-infested places from which they came. You'd be like, yeah, that sounds right. But the thing is, I think that's honestly part of Trump's strategy. I mean, one, I think the president realizes that he is essentially untouchable because he has the Republican Party in his pocket. Right? Even if you're a Republican that actually is against what the president is doing, you are most likely not going to speak out because historically that has been catastrophic for anyone that has done so. We've seen Republicans either just lose or quit. And so for those that have stayed, it has been wild to watch their complete flop. I still remember and think back to 2015 where you had Lindsey Graham saying this about Donald Trump.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. And you know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
And then this morning, after everything that's happened, he's just told the president to aim higher, also staring directly into the camera, praising the president for being a great golfer.
The chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Looked like a fun day.
It was a fun day, and Trump's the best golfer. You're the best golfer. By far.
Also, it appears that Donald Trump understood Lindsey Graham's aim higher comment as aim for someone that is more important.
Lindsey Graham said, encouraged you to aim higher, and does it Trump? No, he didn't say about that. He just said, don't go. See, I disagree with Lindsey. These are congressmen. What am I supposed to do? Just wait for senators? No. These are 4, so I disagree with Lindsey on that. That was the only thing. He said, aim higher, shoot higher. What am I going to do? Wait till we get somebody else in a higher position, a higher office?
And 2, I think he realizes that pretty much anything he says, anything he does, there's going to be another story in the next 24 to 72 hours, and everyone's going to be like, wait, what were we talking about? Hell, I mean, even this story is a prime example of that. Before this story took over all the headlines, the spotlight was on the overcrowded detention centers. Right, you had that photo of Mike Pence, arms crossed, watching, migrants reportedly shouting, no shower, no shower. You just have this extreme situation, and then all of a sudden the national dialogue has already moved on. Hell, even the Epstein-Acosta saga, right? That might even feel like it was a month ago, and that just happened. Also of note, around the time that this video is being uploaded, reportedly the squad, right, the 4 women at the center of this story, they reportedly are going to have a press conference to respond to Trump's remarks. And we're also seeing that Representative Al Green is going to force an impeachment hearing, something he has tried in the past. But ultimately, that is where we are with the situation. That's the story, some of my personal takeaway and opinion on the matter, and of course, I pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts around this? Let me know what you're thinking in those comments down below. And that's where we're going to end today's show. Thank you for watching, maybe hitting that like button. If you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button so you get these dives into the news during the week. Also, if you're not 100% filled in, you want to watch something else, maybe missed and want to catch up on the last Philip DeFranco show or a Rogue Rocket news video, you can click or tap right there. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
The most OP item in Minecraft 1.11, the Totem of Undying. How do you get it? Hello everybody and welcome to OMG Craft. I'm your host, OMG Chad. Since the 16W39 snapshot, we have now had mansions inside of Minecraft and some really cool mobs to go along with those mansions. And there's a lot of detail to these new structures. So let's go find a mansion, then get the Totem of Undying so we will never die.
So here we are in a snapshot world, and first, before you go in, you do need to gear up. So make sure you do that. I'm currently in creative mode. And the one thing I also forgot to do was torches. You definitely need some torches. So we're going to throw all these items on and arrange as best we can. The other thing is that this is going to be very difficult. I do want to show off just the outside of the mansion. They're found in roofed forested areas, biomes, just like this one. Very, very large. This one happens to be 3 stories. Of course, they're generated in the world, so they could be different depending on which one you find. So let's jump in here and switch into game mode 0 and see how long we can last. Okay, so first, those guys are the invokers. Vindicators, sorry. Get out of here. They have a iron axe, as you can see. Boom. And the Vindicators are pretty difficult. You know what's funny is I don't even have any tools. I don't have a pick or anything. So we're gonna have to block over here to get back in. They move very fast, and they will attack other villagers as well. Now, the cool thing with this whole mansion is by far the generation, and there is lots and lots of rooms to explore. You can hear those guys in there. Oh my gosh. See how fast he moves? It's terrifying. It's actually quite terrifying. They do drop emeralds, and of course, we are looking for the evoker, which will drop the Totem of Undying. Many of these rooms have extra loot. Ah! Get out of here. And contain some secrets as well. So like this room, which has this weird banner in it. Well, if you walk around, there is a chest here. Wow, quite a lot of stuff in here. Don't really need all of the rotten flesh, but a diamond chest plate, that's some pretty good loot. There's also, I believe, I did do a quick run around. What? I think that block is from a Enderman. Get out of here. Okay, there we go. There's a storage room, and that has a lot of stuff in it. This is like more of like a jail area. Oh my gosh, terrifying. Is there anyone in here? Hello? Okay, no, doesn't look like it. Oh my gosh, that coal. Just what I needed. The storage room, I did go ahead and game mode 3 and fly around in here. Should be over to the left in this area. Check it out. There's one. Ow! Uh-oh, there's a witch. Get out of here! There we go. Put down. Ooh, the flower room. Oh. Okay, here's the storage room right here. Nothing! Oh my gosh, I thought there'd be stuff in here. This is the first time I've actually looked inside these chests. Well, that's a bummer. Maybe there's like one good chest in here. I don't know. This is new to me. Oh my gosh. That's incredible. Okay, so you got a storage room in here that stores nothing. Nothing. Nothing! Oh man, I can hear bad stuff. No! Okay, woo! Oh, we got the mushroom farm. Wonder if there's anything up there. No, it doesn't look like it. Oh my gosh, all these mobs, scary. Ooh, here's a chest. Ooh, coal. Music disc. Name tag. Did you hear that? Oh my god. It's terrifying. It's over here. Oh, just lava and an anvil. Okay, we need, there is some stairs up at the front of the building. What? Get, there we go. Looks like they made a nice little statue of themselves. Okay, well that's interesting. What? Oh, hello. Ow! Okay, luckily our armor's doing really well. So far, we have looted quite a bit. I think that I'm hearing everything above us. So let's get to the front door and go up. Okay, here we are. There's conference rooms. There's tables. Oh, there's that witch. Let's get her from afar. There we go. Inside of here, these areas, you actually have an area for loot. I don't know what you'd call this, like a boxing rink? I don't know. Ooh, hello. Nope. Nope. Ow! Stop it! Get out! I'm hitting the silly doorway instead of the... Oh gosh, finally, okay. Kill him out. Okay, if we head upstairs, there should be a... Ooh, hello. Not you. There we go, a chest right here. Ooh, got golden apple and some leads, which is pretty nice. A few other things. So now we are basically just looking for the invoker, and this is a 3-story building, so he may be at the top. We just need to find the stairs to get us there. Oh, there he is. I hit him. I just hit him. Uh-oh, did I kill him? Oh, I wanted to see his cool stuff that he made out of nowhere. Oh my gosh, he didn't invoke anything. I killed him from so far away. Okay, he dropped the Totem of Undying. There it is. There's the Totem of Undying. We just got it. Okay. And... Get... Yeah. Okay, let's grab some food. Switch that back. And there may be another on the top floor. Now, the cool thing about the Totem of Undying is that you obviously will not die if you are holding it. Okay, we found the top floor. There may, in fact, be a chance for us. This is one of my favorite rooms. The room with the wool block creation of mobs. I've seen cats, I've seen these chickens. No matter what they are, they're adorable. There he is! Okay, so I want to see- Ow! Holy crap, that thing is scary. This is the first time I'm seeing it. Get wrecked. Where'd he go? Oh my god. Can I kill him? Oh, I can. Ah! What the heck? Oh, I got him. Did he drop anything? What? What is this? Oh my gosh. Ow! Oh my gosh, terrifying. Okay, I think it's time for you to die, my friend. Got him. Okay, whoa, that was crazy. I'm glad we got to see another one because that fight is epic. Okay, so now, let's do this where we actually get killed. Boop, 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 boop. And we take a Totem of Undying and we hold it in our hand. And let's see what actually happens. Come on, hit me. Hit me. Get me! Oh yeah! Okay, we need a more powerful guy than you. Behind door number 1. Oh my gosh! Ah! There he is again! Okay. Here we go. We're gonna die, definitely. Boop! Oh my gosh, this totem! Oh, he kept me alive. Oh, I got my absorption hearts on. Okay. Nice. Okay, throw back on. There we go. And now we're back in the fight. That is so cool. Let's get another one, shall we? Definitely seems like arrows are the way to get rid of this guy. There we go, he's gone. And those little flying things, those are called Vex, V-E-X. And they are creepy. Oh, he's dying. Oh, poor little guy. Ow! Oh my gosh, they...
mansion. Now, my armor was pretty OP. I did do a run with some friends, a group of people, in a different mansion that we didn't record, and we had enchanted iron armor, and there was only a few times that we got pretty close to dying. So you may be able to pull it off with enchanted iron. There's also a few rooms that aren't shown in my...
But this is how you make your note block. What you're going to need is wood planks and one piece of redstone. And you're just going to pretty much make a storage chest and then place one redstone in the middle. And that's how you make it. It's going up in pitch. We made, alright, well, a disc, whoops, a disc, a music disc, which you can get from a certain way of killing monsters. I don't remember the way, but yeah, I don't remember how to do it. You know, I wish I could. I need to learn how to make it so that and well, what you're gonna place in the middle this time is a diamond, and that is how you make a jukebox. And there we go. Alright, well, I hope this helped you guys out. Stay tuned for my next How to Make Items video. I'm going to be making another one really soon. And if you'd like to, I just made a video on how to download my texture pack, even though I'm currently not on it right now. I made a video on how to download and install my
jealously,
jealousy,
the compost barrel. It's new. What the heck is it? Hey guys, it's Chad. Today we're taking a look at the compost barrel. Quick note that we are in a snapshot, so things could change. This is the development version of Minecraft, so not every single time that I show off something is going to be the future in the future. I'm speaking like this because I've said it like 100 times. I'm just mentioning things could change. But without further ado, let's jump into the compost barrel. So here we are inside of Minecraft. This is what the composter looks like. Looks pretty basic. First, let's show how to make it. You're going to need at least 4 oak logs. Go ahead and drop those in and convert them all into planks. Then make 1 set of 4 sticks. So you just need 2 planks on top of each other. Now you're going to put both of those sticks in and make 2 sets of 3 oak fences. So you'll end up with 6 oak fences. Then you'll put 3 planks on the bottom and 2 on either side, and there you go. Now you have your composter with leftover 2 oak fences and 3 oak planks. This can be made with any type of wood. So if you happen to have spruce wood, you can do the same thing. Where is this composter here? There it is. So any type of wood, any type of fence, they all make different types at this point. They can be mixed together. It doesn't have to be the same stuff. So it can really just be anything. And it just makes the same simple composter. Here's what it looks like. It looks kind of like it has like some slats or something underneath. It gives you this type of texture, which is kind of interesting. So how does it work? Well, a normal composter in real life, you would use it to turn food-like material into dirt or fertilizer so that you could use it in your gardening. And this kind of takes a page out of that. You take something like right here, I have some pumpkin pie with me. I put it into the composter and it adds a layer of compost in there. We already put down 1. There is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it will make something happen for you there. And if you want to just keep spamming, it will eventually make, there you go. And there you go. Once that has happened, that little extra little bit where it almost looks like maggots or something are crawling around in there, you can right click again and it will turn into bone meal. So you'll get 1 bone meal out of all of that compost. And you do have to wait a bit, but you can just continuously spam click. And eventually, once that turns into the maggots or whatever on top, maybe it's bone meal in there, that would make a lot of sense, then it will automatically kind of pop out for you to use. There's a whole bunch of different items that you can compost, not just pumpkin pie. Almost all of the various different sort of natural blocks can be composted, with the exception, and I'm very surprised about this, with the exception of bamboo. Bamboo cannot be composted. This would be a great block to compost. Not really sure why you can't compost it, but you cannot compost bamboo. So we're gonna go down the various types of items, and you'll notice that each of these have percentages on them. And those percentage correspond to what percent chance you have that your compost is going to go up a level. So you can see I'm putting lots of this seagrass in here, but it's not going up a new level of compost. We'll deposit the bone meal. Something I haven't tested is, yep, okay, you can even when it is not full as well. Another thing to mention is that the compost bucket barrel thing can be interacted with. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this into this thing right here. It can be interacted with hoppers. So if you take something, let me grab some of these pumpkin pies here. If you take a pumpkin pie, this will always 100% of the time give you some compost. You can put it in there. You can see that it grows up, and then it'll eventually turn into I like to call them maggots, but I guess the bone meal at the top, and then it will deposit the bone meal into wherever it goes, because that's just how hoppers work. This hopper is pulling it out and then putting it into this chest right here. The first question that almost everybody has is, can I use this to automate farms? What is the potential for automating farms? And the issue is you need so much raw material that it will take a while for you, and because there isn't a perfect % chance every single time. And let me pull these pumpkins out of here and kind of show you. Same thing with seeds. So let's say you had a wheat farm and you had an excess of seeds. Well, the seeds would be probably what goes through the hopper, but it's not going to increase the rate of the compost for every seed that goes in. So it's kind of inefficient. Basically, this is really only to be used if you have an absolute just ridiculous amount of things to be composted, or more of like a trash pile, so that you could accumulate wheat or bone meal over time. And of course, bone meal, by the way, if you didn't know, is kind of the compost of Minecraft. You can use bone meal to make crops grow super duper fast. The first thing that comes to mind, though, is some type of kelp farm, because kelp grows really, really tall. It's something that I think could be harvested fairly easily, but it's in the same category as seeds, in that it's only a 10% chance. I have an easier time of just making a skeleton grinder, finding a skeleton spawner, making a skeleton grinder, and then just getting bones that way, which you could craft into bone meal later. Hope you enjoyed this video.
All the new stuff in the Minecraft 1.5 update. Dispense new things that have been added in the Minecraft list for these videos on screen, so you guys can click the. Also, guys, remember to check out. It will get right into the hopper, guys. So pretty much the hopper is this thing right here. It's a pretty cool piece of redstone-y type stuff. Pretty new cool item, or pretty cool new item in Minecraft. And this is how you're gonna craft it. You guys will just need 5 iron and a chest. Arrange it like that in a crafting table, and you will get a dropper or a hopper like this. And this doesn't actually have to do with anything there, but what I can actually do with this is if I show you guys right here. So if I throw a hopper right there, I grab a chest and put the chest right there. What I can actually do is I can actually throw this stone in here, and as you guys can see, the stone's getting pulled through. It's going into this hopper, and then again going into this chest down here. Now the cool thing about that is that it gives me the ability to move things from one chest to another, or in the case over here, from a minecart inside of a chest into something else. So this could be a dispenser, it could be a brewer, it could be anything like that. So cool things like automatic brewing stations, or automatic chest sorting, or anything like that is possible. So remember to keep checking out these videos, because I will be doing automatic brewing as well as automatic chest sorting. Yeah, so pretty much in this case, if I 2 seconds, it's gonna say hi in the chat, and basically turn this off. This could actually be used to make, you know, on a server and you have a faction 75% of the way through or whatever.
Hey guys, welcome to my series called Finally Explained Fracturing Update. A hopper is crafted with a chest and 5 iron ingots. When you place them down, they will either output to the block below them or the block beside them. This means that it will try to put the items in the block below or the block beside it. If a hopper becomes powered, then it will stop all functions and hold all items. It will act like a regular container, like a chest. It will not try to take any items, and it will not try to put items. People sometimes get confused with this, because if you put an unpowered hopper below a powered hopper, then the item will actually go to the bottom hopper. This is because the powered hopper behaves like a chest. It can hold the items, but when a hopper takes one, it can still lose the items. If you power a hopper and throw an item on top of the hopper, then it will bounce off. This is a bug in the game as of 1.6.2 and is reported as bug 1720. A hopper's most basic use is to take an item which is on the ground or has been thrown on top of the hopper and put it in a container below. People use this in mob grinders. When a mob dies, the item will drop on top of a hopper and then will be sent to a chest where it can be stored permanently. Technically, the hopper will take an item if the item is located in the block above the hopper. This means that if an item is sitting on top of a half slab or a Minecraft rail, it will be taken by the hopper. If you want to learn the mechanics of hoppers in large complicated machines, then you need to remember that every 4 redstone ticks, or every 400 milliseconds, a hopper will try to take an item from a container above, and will also try to deposit an item into a container in its output. This is really important. Every 4 redstone ticks, a hopper asks for an item and a hopper tries to put an item. This single rule seems to explain a lot about the mechanics of a hopper. In a system with a hopper, which has its side output facing a chest and has a hopper beneath it, the items will be divided evenly between the chest and the hopper below. I can explain this using the ask and put rule that I mentioned just before.
guy that likes games. Here's
Yeah, I love
here's a game that I thought of today. It's called Talk Your Way Out of It. I'm going to give you a situation that you're stuck in, and you're going to need to talk your way out of it somehow.
Okay.
You meet a beautiful woman. She wants to have sex with you, but she wants you to wear an afro wig. And while you're having sex with her, she's screaming racist shit at you. And then her neighbor opens the door and comes in. He's a black guy, and he's got a baseball bat.
All right, so I agree to do it.
Oh yeah,
Is that
you
what
want to
you're
have
saying?
sex with her, so
So
you're
I'm doing it.
You're willing to wear the black African wig,
So
and
I'm-
she's screaming horrible racist stuff. The guy walks in. He's black, and he's got a baseball bat. He's
But
very
wait,
angry.
he walks in coito, like while we're doing it.
Yeah, her door wasn't fully locked, and the yelling was so loud, he could hear you guys from next apartment. He could
Oh, yeah.
hear her yelling the N-word and
I see.
you know, fuck me. And
I got you.
And so
And
he
how do I talk? You want me to
now
talk? my
you
way out of
gotta
it?
you gotta talk to the black gentleman who's got the
Okay.
baseball bat and talk your way out of this situation.
Okay. Hey, bro, let's kill this honky bitch.
So you just commit to black. You just go.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Come on, man, you and me, jive turkey.
She don't wanna tell lies. She don't wanna tell lies. She just wanna feel alive. She just wanted more time. I'm looking for a long ride. She just wanna test drive. Dying on the west side. I'll see you in the next life. What do you want, babe? I don't like when you don't. You've been calling the wrong name. I said, what do you want, babe? I'm working on my aim. I'm hoping you do the same. You got me afraid again. So let me just pray again. You gon' jump through hoops. Know how many lines you'll do. Won't matter when you lose. Everything I've done for you. She don't wanna tell lies. She don't wanna tell lies. She just wanna feel alive. She just wanted more time. I'm looking for a long ride. She just wanna test drive. Dying on the west side. I'll see you in the next life. Waiting on a sacrificial life. Waiting on the ones who didn't fight. I told you not to waste my fucking time. I told you never sing the song you like. You gon' jump through hoops. Know how many lines you'll do. Won't matter when you lose. Everything I've done for you. She don't wanna tell lies. She don't wanna tell lies. She just wanna feel alive. She just wanted more time. I'm looking for a long ride. She just wanna test drive. Dying on the west side. I'll see you in the next life.